is kind of a special thing. I wanted to go intense with it, but I'm going to have to do a flyby because it's just a quick in and out that I got to do. The time factor is, and I'll probably have about 40 hours in the heads, but I'm not going to show detailed on this because I'm already doing the 360 Pro Max heads. These are a set of dark Pro 1s, the old style, back probably in the mid 90s, 325cc I believe. And what we're going to do is we're going to get these heads working way better than what they are. They're for a blown application, and we're going to increase valve diameter to either 2,300 or 2,350 if the valve seat will let us do it. So let's zoom in here and let's look at what we're working with. The first thing, that's the Felpro 1275 gasket, and I've already got it locked down on there. I'm going to be scribing the lines, and like I said, this ain't going to be a really entailed video because I'm covering all these actions on another head. It's just going to be the highlights of it. So we're going to go 1275 on the entrance, and these heads have been O-ringed. This is going on a blown application for a gentleman in the Florida Keys named Maurice. Alright, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get the line scribed on it with the 1275 Felpro and then begin the cutting process. Alright, on this older Brody head, one of the areas that you can do to try to dramatically pick it up is mainly the roof. They gave you some thickness, you just got to kind of watch because some of these older heads had a problem popping the studs out, the rocker arm studs. So we don't want to go too crazy, but this is our main area of gain here. So let's go in here. Let me try to get you a side view. You can see the dramatic bulge and hump that's right there where that rocker stud is. What we're going to do is we're going to go in there and pull that completely out. Alright, that's our first area of attack. Now, we got that cut. Now this is what we got to watch out for right here. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put a trench and pull out. Now I've measured the thickness, so I got plenty of spring perch material. But you know, you just don't want to go too crazy. So let me see if I can get you on top of this a little bit better. And I'm going to start right here. All right. That ought to be good for about 70 to 80 thousandths. Now let's do this side. Okay. So, yep, that's pretty even. That's pretty close. That's going to give me a good rise. Plus, you know, I've got to tailor that a little bit because what I got to do, let me get a little bit better angle. I got to go in here and pull the bottom of that roof on over and try to straighten that wall up. And that's going to give me a pretty decent increase, about 100 to 125 thousandths rise on it when I'm done right there. So I'm going to go ahead and finish trenching all the rest of them. Then we'll come in here and pull out and raise the roof on it. All of the trenches are dug. Now I got to do the raw material, but as I always try to show you, I'll do it again. I get a lot of emails on this. Notice how on all the heads, okay, let's go step by step without cutting the film. Notice how that one mod is done to each one of them before I go to the next step. I've said it again and again, and I will say it again. You've got to do this for consistency. Now all the trenches, like you can see, are all dug. I have a little measurement tool I'm going to be showing you later on that I've never showed you before. You get to see something new tonight. Okay, and look how well they're dug. They're all almost the same depth and the same radius coming in here on the corners. When I get through leveling that and blending, I would have raised the roof over 1/8 of an inch. Now here's something I wanted to point out. This is, you cannot believe the importance of this. Now, as I mentioned, okay, here's the rocker stud, just so we're on the same page. That's for the rocker arm. Notice how when I dug the roof, I got in, but I didn't get in real close here. I'm trying to leave meat right in here for it to grab onto. I would love, sure enough, to have went over here and went straight down and pulled it in, but then the rocker arm wouldn't have had no support, not what I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and put a plate on there and show you something here after I get through with this. But the main thing is, when you're digging near that stud, go away from it and get in the center of the port. You can go in here and knock the edge off, but you just don't want to dig no material in here. Now, the one thing I want to show you also is it's worse from the left to the right port. Look how bad and how dominant it is on this side compared to the other side. So it caused me to have to come out more in the center. One port is, like I said, the hook port seems to be, which is this one, way worse than the straight port. So what they did, Brodex, is they went in there and made this one a little bit bigger, but it's not as balanced as the one. So balancing the left and right, even on the aftermarket heads, is still a must. You still have to do that, but mainly just to show you, do not go in like you would a regular rectangle and cut straight through. You got to go away and give it some room so you don't interfere with that stud boss mount right there. Now most people that do these heads have the locking bar plates for the studs and all that, and that tremendously helps, and that's good. But I'm going to have to go in here and trim it. I'm going to go ahead and put a plate on there, and I'm going to show you how much sticks out on one side and what you got on the other. So I'll have to take 8 of these studs and trim about 3 threads off of them and cut them down, because you don't want this protruding up inside there, because that's an airflow thing. So I do have to modify 8 of the studs. I'll get the thread count on what it looks like leveling, and then trim the stud down to there, and that'll be what I go with on it finally. All right, and I do go ahead and I do fit it to make sure all of them are good, because otherwise you'd have to number each stud, and that's just bullshit. You get them all the same, because I should have lowered the roof the same, or raised the roof the same. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me step back here, and let's go in here and remove this big chunk of material on this one port. Let you see how I do it, because it is quite a bit, okay? Notice how I try to stay on the rise or the chunk where it's tall. And that's the bad thing about this aluminum is constantly having to dip it in that. I will have some fine tuning that I got to do, but pretty much that raised it up a chunk. Like I said, when I get through bending, it'll be well over 1/8 of an inch or 125 thousandths. That's going to do real well with the bigger valve that we're going to put in, letting more space come to make the turning come up and reshaping, bobtailing the guide. All right, that's all on the roof part right now. I am going to come back later and show you a stud, how I have to modify